July 29th, we celebrate the magnificent tiger and shed light on their critical situation in the wild. Join us as we explore the world of tigers, their significance, and the urgent need for their conservation. Tigers, the largest members of the cat family, have captivated human imagination for centuries. Their striking orange coats, adorned with black stripes, make them one of the most recognizable animals on our planet. But there is so much more to these apex predators than just their iconic appearance. Let's start with some fascinating facts about tigers. Did you know that no two tigers have the same stripe pattern? The stripes of a tiger are like fingerprints, unique to each individual. These powerful cats can weigh up to 300 kilograms and measure up to 11 feet in length, including their tail. Their roar, a sound that sends shivers down the spine, can be heard from as far as 3 kilometers away.
मीटिंग चालू है.
Tigers are not just physically impressive, they are also incredibly adaptable. They can be found in a variety of habitats, from the snowy wildernesses of Siberia to the mangrove swamps of Bengal. However, their primary habitats are tropical rainforests, grasslands, and mangrove swamps. But how did tigers become so critically endangered? Let's learn a little bit about the history behind this situation.
Before the colonial powers like British and Portuguese took over India, people used to worship tigers. People used to live in complete awe of this animal, and they thought it was God. And they used to call it different names. In fact, you see tigers as the Vahan, or the vehicle for goddess Durga, or you will see Ayyappa with tigers. You will see so many gods which are associated with tigers. So in India, culturally, we were so embedded with nature worship, and respecting nature, that we never thought of terminating tigers. We did have problems with tigers. The tigers were killing people, but it was seen as part of natural calamities, something which was seen when tigers are around a human habitat. But British, when they came to India, they were also on a mission to civilize this world. So killing tiger was part of civilizing this part of the world, where they thought tiger is a major problem for a civilized life. So they actually brought in gunpowder, rifles which are quite advanced at that time for India. They got in jeeps, they got in searchlights which were connected to jeeps, and they started killing tigers. And they brought in a culture where it was seen as an elite thing to kill tigers, and they invited Maharajas also for this. Earlier also, kings were hunting in India, but it was not as terminating the species altogether. Mahesh Rangarajan, a famous historian of Indian environment, has documented that from 1875 to around to 1925, or at the start of our independence, we were having only 40,000 tigers. And between this period, there were more than 1 lakh tigers, 80,000 to 100,000 tigers which were terminated from India. So this was done with not only by British killing by the guns, but also inviting others to kill, and also giving rewards and bounties on tiger's head. So tiger was seen as something to be terminated. This also comes from the philosophy of West, where humans are the most superior race and we are out to conquer the world. So, unlike the East, which was seeing the greater powers as something which are more powerful, and it was respected, even worshipped in South Asia and Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, when the Western ideas came in, which was like, okay, terminate all, they have already in Europe terminated all the large carnivores. Now they were doing the same in India. So this saw a major decline, and this shikar continued until the Wildlife Protection Act came in 1972. It was the then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi who brought this Wildlife Protection Act, and it was the era which was seeing the global awareness about conservation of nature, and there were acid rains in Europe and America. So there was a lot of issues of environment were coming in which India took a very bold step of conserving this wildlife by putting Wildlife Protection Act. This was much before any other country was actually trying to talk about tigers. These tigers were made as a national animal and symbol of conservation in India. Initially, there was, when in 1970s, from 1947 to 1972, it was estimated that India had only 1,400 tigers left. So at a massive rate, the tigers were being terminated. Along with the guns, it was also poisoning of the prey, poisoning of carcasses of cows and goats which tigers were killing. Tigers were left only in small pockets which were away from the human use. That's when the Project Tiger was launched in 1973, and this was keeping in mind that at least some geographies of India, some special areas of India will be kept aside for eternity. So they didn't expect a country like India, which was dealing with poverty, which was dealing with the issues of a young nation which was trying to establish itself with a massive population, depleted resources, thanks to British, which has looted the country before leaving India. So India was still struggling in this entire context. Tiger conservation was seen as something which is an alien thing, which is a luxury thing, which is a European thing. But good that India took this step, and then we wanted to set aside some areas. So all over India, they took some 10 different geographies which was so unique, like Sundarbans, Manas, Corbett. So they took 10 different areas of India and they actually put the tiger reserves there. And this was areas which were under Project Tiger. Project Tiger was launched, and these 10 areas were thought that they will be used for conservation of tigers. And slowly we saw the tiger numbers coming back. So now we have around 58 tiger reserves in India, and we didn't know what these tiger reserves were doing to enter, like locking up these areas for conservation of one species. Is that worth enough? But recent studies have suggested that we are getting ecosystem services more than our GDP. In fact, $3 trillion is what we are achieving from these tiger reserves through ecosystem services. When I say ecosystem services, what I mean is the role of these areas to sequester the carbon, the role of these areas to send water. I mean, these are all big catchments of water. So when it rains, India is predominantly a monsoon-fed country, and these tiger reserves are important catchments of major rivers. So we have realized now that around 300 Indian rivers are originating from these tiger habitats. So now we realize that it's so important that we conserve these small islands of 58 tiger reserves. It doesn't even constitute 1% of the country, but we are able to conserve so many other species like the wild buffaloes, elephants, rhinos, gores, not just this big charismatic animals, but also small butterflies, insects, small life forms, which are all found in these areas. So this was a fallout of conservation. That's why tiger is generally called as the umbrella species for conservation.
Now, let's delve into the emotional connection we share with tigers. These majestic creatures evoke a range of emotions in us: awe at their power, admiration for their beauty, and sometimes fear of their predatory nature. But there's also a tenderness in our hearts for tigers, especially when we see images of tiger mothers caring for their cubs, or watch videos of these big cats playing like oversized house cats. This emotional connection is crucial because it drives our desire to protect them, and protection is something tigers desperately need. According to the Global Tiger Forum, there are only about 5,500 tigers left in the wild. This number, while an improvement from previous decades, is still alarmingly low.
In 2010, Global Tiger Forum was formed, in which 13 tiger range countries came together. The assessment of the tiger population then was 3,200 tigers left in the wild in the world. And as you know, tiger is found only in Asia. This was perhaps the Asian coalition, with Russia leading it. This was held in St. Petersburg, and it was on 29 July 2010 that a declaration was signed, convention was made, that we will double the tiger population in next 12 years. By 2022, there was a commitment that every country will put its own efforts to double the population and help reduce the tiger trade by cross-border cooperation. India led dramatically on this, where the tiger numbers improved from around 1,700, 1,800 to 3,200 by 2022. The South China tiger is almost extinct in the wild. From these 13 range countries, 3 countries lost the tigers: Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. There are around 350 tigers left in Indonesia and Malaysia put together. There's Sumatran tiger there. Altogether, there are around 6 tiger subspecies, of which the Bengal tiger, which is found in India, has the maximum number of individuals, which is more than 3,500 tigers. In India, we assess the tiger populations once in 4 years. There is an All India Tiger Estimation, which happens once in 4 years, wherein it is led by a National Tiger Conservation Authority and the Wildlife Institute of India, the premier wildlife institute, supported by the forest departments and the local NGOs. All come together to count the tigers using camera traps so that there is no double counting. Earlier, the tigers were counted using the pug marks, which was prone to a lot of errors. But now, because realizing that there are unique tigers, every tiger is unique with their unique stripe patterns, wildlife biologist Mr. K. Ullas Karant has designed a method using camera traps, infrared camera traps, where basically tigers take their own selfies walking just past the cameras, and a profile is created. We make a profile by carefully identifying individual tiger stripe. We put it in our software, and biologists and forest department come together to make profiles of individual tigers. These profiles are submitted to National Tiger Conservation Authority, where scientists from WII, Wildlife Institute of India, collate all the tigers and they eradicate double counts which must have happened at the border states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and they come out with unique population estimation, which has led to 3,200 tigers last year, in 2022.
The threats facing tigers are numerous and complex. Habitat loss is perhaps the most significant issue. As human populations expand, we encroach further into tiger territories, clearing forests for agriculture, housing, and infrastructure. This not only reduces the space available for tigers, but also fragments their habitats, making it difficult for tigers to find mates and maintain genetic diversity. Poaching is another major threat. Despite international bans, there is still a black market for tiger parts used in traditional medicines and as status symbols. A single tiger can fetch tens of thousands of dollars on the illegal market, creating a powerful incentive for poachers.
It was the British we could blame earlier that has caused to the major tiger decline. But post-independence, post-1970s, in India it was mainly due to the conversion of forests, which we may call as deforestation, for agriculture mainly, followed by development projects like the mines, dams, roads, which has deforested a lot of tiger habitats and also fragmented habitats, making difficult for tigers to move across. Being a large-bodied animal, it requires a lot of prey. Each year, tiger needs around 50 adult prey species. This calculation has come from a long-term study which has found that at an average, tiger kills one medium-sized prey animal each week. So altogether, they need 50 prey animals each year. To get that crop of 50, they need at least 500 animals in that landscape. Therefore, the habitat of tiger or the home range of tiger is defined by availability of prey. So if the prey is less, tigers have to roam around in a larger area. They take a bigger home range. And there is more chance of tiger getting into conflict with people because these home ranges, these big areas are not available. So apart from habitat loss, it is the prey depletion which is a major concern. Wherein a lot of habitats in India have very little prey and tigers have to keep moving within larger territories. The territories can go up to 400 square kilometers to 1000 square kilometers in Siberia to around 100 square kilometers in India. But ideal tiger habitat like Corbett or Nagarhole or Kaziranga will have around 12 to 15 square kilometers for each tiger. That means all the prey it needs is packed in this 12 to 15 square kilometers. This is accounting in for other predators like does and wild dogs and leopards which are found in these areas.
12 to 15 kilometers.
Yeah, square kilometers. So tigers at least need that much areas to suffice. So to have that, you need to keep aside large areas because tigers need neighbors, and if you need a population which is a stable population for tigers, means you need at least 20 breeding females in a population. That means that population size should be more than 50 individuals, more than 50 to 60 individuals. Then you will have around 20 breeding females. If you have 20 breeding females, because the tiger comes into breeding cycle once in 2 years. So in a lifetime, it can breed maybe 4 or 5 times. So the average is like if you have 20 breeding females in a landscape, then the population is stable. Otherwise, it's always under the risk of decline. To have those 20 breeding females, you need large landscapes. You need a lot of prey. So you can imagine you need thousands of prey species. This is contributed by a lot of large ungulates like gaur, sambar, spotted deer, which is found in these areas. If tiger doesn't get that food, it has to move out. It has to find a new territory. But because of landscapes are getting fragmented, that means there is no connection between this patch to the next patch. So tigers are many times getting ecologically trapped because all around them are development projects. There are roads, there are mines, there are villages, there are towns. So they end up in a conflict situation where they end up meeting humans. So human-wildlife conflict is another major problem for tigers. When they come in human habitats owing to lack of prey, or it could be sometimes because it's easy to kill the prey which is available in human lands, which is cattle and goats. That's what people don't like. Although government tries to compensate them, but losing cattle is something very personal to a farmer. He may see the cattle as his own family. So the farmer may be tempted to take a revenge and poison the cattle.
మీ పేరు
పేరు రాములు.
ఎవరని మీవేనా మందుండ
ఈ గొడ్లకు ఆ గొడ్ల వచ్చినప్పుడు ఆసనకి విడతాటికి రావద్దు, లేకుంటే నాడు మా గొడ్డని పోతుండే మేము అట్లా హుషారు లేకుంటే. ఇట్లా వేస్తే నీకు ఆసనం కాదు, అటే ఉంటుంది గొడ్డు వెళ్ళిపోయింది అక్కడ. గొర్రు వీరొరితే ఉరికేస్తాయి ఇప్పుడు గడ్డకు, గొడ్లకు రావు.
All the compensation is released, but it often takes a lot of time from the forest department or any other agencies to compensate that because of the bureaucratical pressures and red tapeism which we have in our country. So the poor farmer many times have resorted to poisoning of the carcass which is lying there for a week, which tiger comes and feeds again and again. So if the farmer puts a poison in the carcass, then the tiger eats it and it dies. That way farmer will not lose another cattle at least. But because of this conflict, there is a lot of tigers which are dying. Recently in MM Hills in Karnataka, 5 tigers had died due to this poisoning. Same thing happened in Telangana, where a family of 6 completely disappeared. It was 2 cubs which remained, 4 died, and 2 cubs remained, but they couldn't hunt for themselves. Eventually, they were seen very thin, and perhaps they also died. So we are losing all our tigers due to this. Apart from that, in some areas like Chandrapur, there are tigers which are actually attacking humans because they are living very close to humans, and humans are everywhere. They come for cattle, or accidentally they can actually attack humans. And there are cases where tigers have been killing humans. So there are more than 50 deaths in India due to tigers, which may look a big number, but comparing to the road accidents or train accidents which we have in India, I think this is a very small percentage. Yet it is made to believe that it's a big number. Nevertheless, losing any humans to tigers, I think for a country as developed as India, is not acceptable. So we need to have a solution there. We cannot have these problem animals moving in these areas and killing people. We need to have a solution wherein tigers and people don't overlap much, don't interact much, and are not a problem for each other.
Human-tiger conflict is also a growing concern as tigers lose their natural habitats and prey becomes scarce. They sometimes venture into settlements leading to dangerous encounters. This often results in retaliatory killings of tigers. But it is not all doom and gloom. Conservation efforts are making a difference. In 2010, at the St. Petersburg Tiger Summit, 13 tiger range countries committed to doubling the wild tiger population by 2022, a goal known as TX2. While we didn't quite reach that target, significant progress has been made. Several countries, including India, Nepal, and Russia, have seen increases in their tiger populations. But conservation isn't just the job of governments and organizations. Each one of us can play a role in protecting tigers. Here's how you can help. Spread awareness. Share how to help information about tigers and the challenges they face with your friends and family. Support conservation organizations. Donate to established, reputable organizations working on tiger conservation. Be a responsible tourist if you visit tiger habitats. Choose eco-friendly tours that respect wildlife and support local communities. Make sustainable choices. Reduce your carbon footprint and avoid products that contribute to deforestation. And finally, use your voice. Advocate for policies that protect wildlife and their habitats.
The rising temperatures, the altered rainfalls, the changing climate is a major problem for tigers. It's not just that the humans are suffering because of the climate change, it's also that the tigers and their habitats are getting depleted due to climate change. I'll explain you how. The tiger, which needs a lot of prey, gets perturbated by changing climates. Extreme weathers cause disruption in the forest. It can cause more fires. It can kill a lot of prey animals. It can change the patterns of the breeding. For example, if females in generally female deer species generally have fawns in the month of the early monsoons. They breed in March, and after 2 months or 3 months they have fawns. That's when they have to lactate more. And that's when they have to eat more. And when the fawns are growing, it is almost August, September. That's when they need to have a lot of food available. But if the rainfall is not proper, if it starts, monsoon starts and then stops, then starts, then stops, that's when the forest goes into a distress cycle. There is attack of pests and pathogens which kill the plants and edible foods. It's the rough which survive. So this all can have a major impact on the prey. This, all we can do is provide some water in the pinch periods, but we cannot change the entire thing. Now we can artificially feed this hundreds and thousands of animals. It's just not possible. That's where the animals start showing a decline. And that's when unhealthy prey population will lead tiger cycle also. The breeding cycles of tiger get affected. The tiger numbers get affected. They actually may start looking for cattle, which is outside. Or they may actually end up trying to move from one patch to other patch because of disturbances in these areas. So this is how the climate change affects. A more direct effect is happening in West Bengal, where Sundarbans is getting submerged due to rising sea levels. This is a major threat because the habitat each year, each decade, you are losing hundreds of acres to the sea. And this is happening in India and Bangladesh, which has the mangrove forest, which depends on the sea, which comes and goes. But this rising sea level can actually kill the mangroves also. It's not, mangroves need both fresh water coming from the land and the sea water coming from the sea. But when you have the sea coming inside, the inundation of the sea inside the land can kill the mangrove. So this is the most direct impact on the tigers and their habitats.
As we celebrate International Tiger Day, let us remember that these magnificent creatures are more than just symbols or attractions. They are vital components of their ecosystems, helping to maintain the balance of nature. Tigers are apex predators, and their presence indicates a healthy environment that can support a wide range of other species. Moreover, tigers hold cultural significance in many societies. In many Asian cultures, tigers symbolize strength, courage, and dignity. They feature prominently in folklore, art, and literature. And by protecting tigers, we are also preserving an important part of our cultural heritage. Looking to the future, there is reason for cautious optimism. The global commitment to tiger conservation is stronger than ever. New technologies from camera traps to thermal imaging and easy access to social media is enhancing our ability to monitor and protect tiger populations and raise public awareness about the importance of conservation. However, we must not become complacent. Climate change poses a new threat to tigers, potentially altering their habitats and affecting their prey bases. We need to factor this into our conservation strategies moving forward.
Globally, there are many organizations which have formed for wildlife conservation, and they have taken tigers as a major conservation species to work for. HYTICOS is a voluntary organization started in 2001 to protect tigers in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. At HYTICOS, they have adopted Kawal Wildlife Sanctuary, which was in Adilabad district, northern part of then Andhra Pradesh, in 2001 to protect and make a viable home for tigers. This Kawal Tiger Sanctuary was having around 8-10 tigers, but it was connected with a much bigger tiger reserve, which is much famous place, Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, which is doing particularly well in terms of tigers. There are over 100 tigers in Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, and around Tadoba there are around another 100 tigers. Ideally, Tadoba's tigers needed a second home. And what we thought at HYTICOS is we'll make a second home of tigers in Telangana, in then Andhra Pradesh. And Kawai Wildlife Sanctuary in 2012 was declared as Tiger Reserve thanks to our efforts. After declaration of Tiger Reserve, still the challenges remain, and we try to address these challenges. This include habitat restoration. This includes providing livelihoods for the people which are dependent on forest, helping people to relocate from inside of the Tiger Reserve to a nearby place where they are close to the road and amenities. This is called as voluntary relocation. It has to be voluntary, and when people want to get relocated, there is a scheme from the government and we try to implement the scheme. Along with that, we try to also help better targeting of government schemes from central government or state government, which has to be implemented in these areas. We also take CSR support, and thanks to Gland Pharma Foundation, we have been able to grow 650 acres of agroforestry in this landscape, carefully selecting the areas which are connecting from one patch to other. So we are trying to rebridge the entire forest with this agroforest initiatives, mainly because it's only in summer months when the mango plantation is required for harvest, and it's all the other 9 months of non-summer where this land is left fallow. We want these areas to be used by birds, monkeys, animals, including tigers, to move from one place to other place. This is our answer to the deforestation which has happened in this landscape. We also work for other livelihoods, like we train people on handicraft, bamboo craft. We are working on a tourism resort which will be community owned, community governed, community run. We do scientific monitoring of tigers and its prey. And we are the pioneers in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana for starting these monitoring programs. We have learned from the best in the world. We were partnered with Wildlife Conservation Society, and under the leadership of Dr. K. Ullas Karanth, HYTICOS have started monitoring tigers and its prey in entire Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We did occupancy surveys to find out viable habitats of tigers outside of the known protected areas. We have covered entire Andhra Pradesh and Telangana doing these occupancy surveys to find out habitats of tigers and other species. We have also developed models where we are actually counting the prey numbers. We have developed a long-term monitoring transacts in Kawal, in Amrabad, and Nagarjuna Sagar Season Tiger Reserve. The 3 tiger reserves in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana put together, we do long-term monitoring of prey numbers. We have been assessing the prey numbers in Kawal since 2010 and in Amrabad and NSTR since 2017 and 18. While doing that, we have also helped more than 3,000 forest department staff learn these techniques and implement in their areas. So one of the major things we do is capacity building of staff in ecological monitoring. Along with that, we have developed modules for law enforcement monitoring, and we have been training forest department. We have trained more than 2,000 people in law enforcement and helped them with a toll-free number and assisting them in filing cases when it comes to law enforcement. Generally, forest departments understaffed and undertrained. We try to bridge this gap by performing trainings and by undertaking trainings and by helping them in the service. We bring in volunteers from the civil society and connect them to the forest to add more people to the constituency of tiger conservation.
The International Tiger Day is more than just a celebration. It is a call to action. It reminds us of our responsibility to protect these incredible animals in the wild places they call home. Every tiger saved, every hectare of forest protected is a victory, not just for tigers, but for our planet as a whole. So today, as we marvel at the beauty and power of tigers, let us also commit to ensuring their survival, whether it is through spreading awareness, supporting conservation efforts, or making more sustainable choices in our daily lives. We all have a role to play.
Think global and act local. You can also read more about tiger conservation. You can understand what's happening in your backyards, in Andhra, Telangana's tiger areas, and also read about what's happening in India and support people who are trying to protect these lands. Your voice counts. It's very important that you talk about tiger conservation, habitat fragmentation, habitat loss. You need not be a wildlife biologist or a forest officer always to go and conserve tigers. You can do it in your own way. You can be a photographer. You can be a doctor who is actually trying to take care of people living around the areas where tigers are living. You can be a good agriculture person who is reducing the use of pesticides. You can ask your teachers to take you for a picnic which is near a forest, near a nature reserve, so that you can witness nature and appreciate it. You can organize nature walks. You can yourself go to nature walks on Sundays with your parents and friends and learn more about nature. That is the best way to appreciate the nature, by being in nature. You can use your art, your writing skills for conservation. Art is the best form of expression where you can actually talk about what are the issues we are having. You can talk about how tigers are helping in fighting the climate change. Now you can use artificial intelligence, AI, for learning more about tigers and spreading this information. There are so many things which you as a child can do, starting from saving paper because you need to cut trees. Maybe you can put a message in every class in your school saying that papers come from trees. Don't waste paper. You can ask the school to reduce the use of paper, and maybe you can help the school in recycling whatever is being generated. In conclusion, the International Tiger Day's theme this year is "Their future is in your hands." It talks about the collective responsibility we all have to conserve tigers, and they cannot survive without our support. They may be the most majestic and largest and most powerful animal in the world, but they cannot sustain themselves unless we all support the tigers. Let's take a pledge that we'll spread awareness about tiger conservation. We'll support the conservation organizations and people who are conserving tigers. Let all come together and spread this message of tiger conservation. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Remember, in saving the tiger, we are not just preserving a species, we are protecting entire ecosystems, maintaining the balance of nature, and ultimately safeguarding our own future on this planet. Thank you for joining us on this International Tiger Day. Let us make every day a day for tiger conservation. Together, we can ensure that future generations will continue to share this planet with these magnificent creatures.